Hey everyone, this is BIM Depot here with a video showing you how to use Revit revisions in your projects. So I have just a Revit sample project loaded into our BIM Depot Revit template here. So this will kind of facilitate some of the things that I want to show. So kind of just laying out some of the basics here. To access the revision schedule and modify it, you go up to the View tab and click revisions. And this is really the dialog box where you control all of your revisions on your sheets. So in the BIM Depot template, we have a few preloaded. So the first one, issuance, I had typed out here, issued for permit. So generally that might be your first issuance officially. So just lay of the land here. Along the top here, it kind of describes what each of these columns are. Sequence, so this is kind of like the sequential order. Revision number, this is the issuance or revision number. I have this first one set to none. Generally, the reason I do that is so that any of the revisions, so like revision 1 lines up with the revision number 1. And if you didn't have that, in the way that you can alter that, if we were to click, that would make revision number 2 in the sequence order, but then it would make it revision 1. So these numbers wouldn't sync up. So I always like to have anything that comes before the first revision just at none. So here, obviously we can add the date. So you can name this whatever you want, whatever description here. This checkbox issued, this prevents you, if this is checked, that prevents you from adding more revision clouds to your sheets. So it's kind of just a quality assurance thing that you're not adding revision clouds to older things that have already been issued. And then a few other issue to, issued by, and then along here, show. So this is whether or not you want the revision cloud and the revision tag to show up. Since this is issued for permit, there's no revision. I always have that set to none. And then for revisions, obviously for the revision itself, when we're going to issue, I always have cloud and tag shown. But then after it's been issued and we're kind of moving on to the next revision, I always like to just switch that to tag. So then the cloud hides, but then you still have the tag as sort of like a record of the change in your documents. On the right-hand side here, there are a number of things. So the first one, add, you can add another revision here, and then delete that revision, click OK. The next dialog box here, numbering per project or per sheet. The next dialog box, row. So that is really just the sequential order of each issuance. So if we click on the left hand, we might have to have 3 for this. Yeah, so if you add that one, you can see once we have clicked in sequence, you can then move up, move down, and you'll notice that if you click off of it, so if you click, say, in the description or any of these columns, you actually no longer have those options. So you have to come over and then go and use these buttons. So merge up, so that's going to merge whatever revision you have highlighted with the previous revision, and then also merge down, so that does it if there was a revision below this. So if we do that, okay, and it kind of just absorbs all those revisions into the revision 1. So customized numbering, so this is alphanumeric, so you can do your own custom thing if you want to do alphanumeric or Roman numerals, however your firm does it. But you would go in, the pencil does an edit, and then you can see the sequence that goes through. And then this button here, you create a new one, duplicate, and then delete. And then the last option here, arc length, so that's really just that's the actual arc of each revision cloud. So let's get into this a little bit in the actual Revit workspace. So to add a revision cloud here, you actually have to switch over to the Annotate tab. And then within that, revision cloud is right here. Click on that, and then it's similar to a sketch dialog box. So all sorts of different shapes you can make. And let's maybe zoom in on a portion here. So say if we did a revision to this bathroom here, you just draw your shape around the bathroom, click the checkbox, which is finish edit mode, and then you have your revision on your sheet. So one thing that you'll notice, if we were to undo this for 1 second, you'll notice that there is no revision 1 listed here in the schedule. But then if we were to bring that back, so we have the revision cloud back here. Now it is populating within this sheet. The reasoning for that is that generally revisions will only show up in your revision schedule if it exists on that sheet. The way to get the revisions or issuances to show up on a sheet, whether or not it has a cloud, on the sheet, you would go to scroll down to identity data and then revisions on sheet, click edit. And then this will allow you to kind of force override and make that show on the sheet. So if we were to uncheck that, you'll notice now, since there's no cloud for that issue for permit, then it no longer exists on the sheet and it's not in the schedule. So you can actually do that across the set. So let's say if we wanted to do this in all of our sheets, and these are really just all the sheets that are preloaded within the BIM Depot Revit template, you really just come here, select all in your project browser, go back over to properties, click edit, and then you'll notice that here there's a black box. So what that means is that some of the sheets have it forced override, some of them don't. So if you just click this black box, switches over to the check mark. If you wanted to remove that, click it again. You notice that comes back. And then if we go to another sheet here, you'll notice that it exists on all the other sheets now. So you can add as many of these issued for permit type of issuances as you want. So let's say you have issued for permits, issued for construction, issued for bid, things like that. You just go into add, similar to how you would for another revision. Let's go ahead and move this up and call it. You'll notice that we have to remove the revision number now here under the numbering column. Come in to none, and then you can add your date here. And then again, I always like to just remove tag and cloud just to be safe within that. But now we have this, we can go and add that now to all of our sheets that we have issued for construction. And then it's really just that same process again of selecting all those sheets, clicking check, okay. And now again, we have that showing up on all these sheets that we intend to issue during the construction phase. So to go back over here for a moment, in order to tag these, you would go to annotate again, tag by category, and then tag it here. So you'll notice that there's a leader here. I typically don't like to use the leaders with the revision tags. And the reasoning for that is that when you go further on through the project, and you're done issuing, so you've issued this, and then you turn off the clouds because it's already been issued, click OK. You'll notice that you have your tag now, but the leader's still there. So it looks a bit odd with, the leader and no cloud there. So the easy way to fix that is that come back over, click on this, and then uncheck leader. It looks just a little bit better and a little bit cleaner for your drawings. If we come over to this door schedule, one of the features that we have built in to the door schedule and like all the different types of schedules here, so the window schedule, plumbing fixture schedule, and so on, we have a parameter built in here that allows you to add the revision. And really the reasoning for this that we've come across a lot is that we'll make a modification to a door. Oh, okay, so I went to go add revision cloud, but what this is saying is that essentially what it's saying is that all the issuances or revisions have been issued. So we have to come back in and then add one since this has already been issued. So let's add a second one to. So now if you wanted to, what I've seen a lot in the past is that if you modified a door, you would come in and then you would cloud this, click check. There's a few issues with this. So first, the cloud is quite large. It's really unclear what's actually changed here, which door, and it's also making a lot of this other text illegible. So what we came up with was to add this parameter. So the way that's useful, if we double click on our schedule, so say that this one got modified, let's say a few of them got modified. So all these doors got modified in each of these revisions. We come back and then now revisions are all here. And another thing that's really, really handy with this is that let's say if we went and deleted one of these, 204, 206, so let's just delete those. You'll notice now that 204 is gone and these numbers really, they followed that door with it. Whereas if you had a revision cloud, and that shortcut is RC on your keyboard. So if you had a revision cloud, you deleted some doors, you added some doors. Well, this revision cloud isn't tied into that schedule at all. So it's always going to be stuck in this location. So the nice thing about having that parameter is that it actually tracks with it. So just one of the nice things that we have built into all of our schedules within that BIM Depot Revit template. So what I did here was kind of bad practice. So you'll notice that the revision cloud is not based within the view. So the reason that's bad practice, so if we zoom out looking at our sheet, and let's say we had to reshuffle the sheet to add an extra plan or some notes onto it. So if we were to move this, you'll notice that the revision cloud itself doesn't move with the plan. So, this could be especially troubling if this is like a detail sheet and all of your revision clouds are in the sheet view and not in the actual drawing view. So I'll go ahead and delete this, hop back in here, and then RC on the keyboard for revision cloud, and then go in, draw the cloud again, and then tag TG on the keyboard, and I will remove this leader. And then now if we deactivate our view, come back out, and now if we move it, you'll notice that your revision cloud moves with it. So it's kind of a nice quality assurance tool that your team should use to avoid any mix-ups like that. One other thing too that I wanted to point out here, so in this view, the cloud to me looks a little bit big. So the way that you would go and change that setting, you would come into view, revisions, and then within here, the arc length. So let's change this to 1/2 inch, click OK. Then you'll notice this is a little bit more appropriate, kind of graphically looks a bit nicer. So the way that you actually change, say like the line weight or the line color itself, you would go into the Manage tab, Object Styles, Annotate tab. So within here, Revision Cloud, so say if we wanted this a bit thicker, and then sometimes I've seen other people do even like a color to it. Click Apply, then you can see this is now colored and a little bit thicker. And then you will notice that the tag is still black. So you would scroll down if you wanted to change that as well. And then under Revision Cloud tags, kind of same process, apply, and then you have those settings.